Greetings, everyone, boys and girls. This is James here speaking, and yes, it is this. Today is on to Sunday, which means today is on Sunday, and we are actually is about to gonna be explained this Sunday here on to the document of religions update, and therefore the Thai Autism Group Associate Bandak and the family so forced me as I went to Bundak, and carrying on to my primary iPad, which says joint here, with a knowledge that one of the bed have a several of hours per probably have to have the takes. It have to take me into the 7 hours of the period, and let's get started into it. So I just woke up in the morning, and where I just have decided to carrying to onto my laboratory's workspace, and as in fact there's too much weight as this document is. Thai Autism Group Associated Bantak has operated to be for documented had flow for the 7,200% unit of documents, and the beings associated this animals of this so much as have the longest for systematic of the teaching and period for that. And there's forgot that he was a sit on the from there, and my family so forced me to take Bandak for abandonment of the school to drive a bar, whatever it says, where I was. And before anything else it just but had. And besides that, the pretty as a word province, which makes the document of the purposely, and which is makes a purpose as consumed by children, and this was had this one bit is a hat they had on special children, and including myself to the special kind person, and personality is a special that specializes that those are documents of for instruments for that the furnace are refused to be the workout by the associate and awareness are as acclaimed for children. The religious way that awareness for the longest served to be the families and owns the grandchildren and the grand themselves, and I was included myself the grandchildren's to grandson. I was really expecting that to bet associating to be. And here's under the guesting, I was ate them to snack that's up to, and just instead of have the latte soy milk, and the server to be with the snacks, donuts, and then. And forgot this word enter the enter says be quiet room and nobody hear it, and we are alone with my fellows the grandchildren with forgot, and he's a name forgot. A younger boy was the who wanted longer serve by myself the younger to have the young adult boys as grandchildren, so I have the grandson. I don't think that I mentioned this, but I remember more. And Forgotten says he's younger boy does a longer serve about me as a grandson. Grandson, so I was my own with the grandchildren forgotten. And he claims that he was look on to what is he was exactly are coolish with my primary iPad. So I have equipment to Apple Pencil, and I just went on to meetings meeting rooms here, so to be quiet, and I'll sit on to my drawing tool, the digital art, the sketches into it for the meetings room, and the roommates there. And forgot that he is the interesting this bit sketches the sketch bit using actual easy ways to use, and is required for is required for bit that take it takes marks with the visual digital art sketches, and also have the and they had to have a Samsung tablet replacement with a pens. It is very easily this piece, and the others has have the child's opportunities is there had offers as by the families has spent families is supported to have the support to the families, and is offering this for by as assumed to be the Thai Autism Group Associate of Bandak. It's simply to have the and besides and the provided a bit refill to the document here. The document is going on into it, and it's the same way to think that it's there was a believer as long as serving to children as much that more than is more of it for does a provide its teaching despite as do it have the teaching is the families of the teaching is as per children. So believe that the natural children but the regularly it's nothing much else have special children. This it's a sentence had is complications to the children, and just offering that so teaching the skills, and as always that mental health that experiences says consume it for the fusion. We are balance about that is associated to be the awareness the longest served to children says all the time. The document is of as a given responsibility it says bent as an ingressive to the fingerprint, and this offering this by far this often there's an opportunity to with the children's, and encouraging the spend have a special children and a special kind person. Those a personality as for this these objections. Then maybe it's as objectives that have the where and somehow are that have the as a character says guaranteeing is there's as a besides that for as a megabytes for produce per bit is under for fusions to the documenters, and this documenters as per the given with the in families, and as a hallway are before provide this as given about the for the composite to the documented are going into it, and the afterwards Forgotten says that he should have never get to lunch there, and he refused to eat the noodles the forgot to say it, and he saying he was as hungry, and as I take the lunch has to take a lunch there, I was ate him 2 noodles for instead, and had to get up in here, and continued going to be had to forward because the children is upon us are coming right up, and then the afterward the afterwards there was that the children as the child are coming toward the meeting room, and sanity is just painted had as quiet as have a bed till you break. So as the even that just takes to as a Phil have the sleepy as the human atolls that the Thailand is have the weather for there's a temperatures that have a 35% 35 degrees Celsius there, and especially the hot and high much have the strong by the high pressured to the energy source for sun setting its areas that attract the sun. And I was fell asleep over per provides about hours and 30 minutes of straight. And in fact, I was able to get up there. Anything else has a provided that. And into in events that documents, and they're going to be had and always gonna releases a bit from got out from the teaching, and I got out from the exhausting and the society, and is gonna continue forward to my primary iPad, and as I got out from the children, has had the family to the aims that have the getting associated reading that had it into it, and the titles Autism Group Associate Buntuck, and does a provide just because I've nearly finished for that, and then the Buntuck they got out and they got released, and they get the documented they got released there today. And here's something I had at the statement here. The statement is increases. The increases in impressions and documented have 1,230% unit, and go up to Montauk have 8,575% units of document. Anyways, the statements that have the Montauk is also have the 6,000 8,565% of units of a document, and associated assessment to the document is probably have the 6,785% of unit. And the sovereignty believe in the terrorist has a home for has far from a home for a while, and together as well being so, and I might have to tire about carrying the by the children's and the carrying with the teaching this with the children's, and they might have coming back to Bundock to have the as might have a force that, but maybe if my family's a force being to going to Bundock somehow, and that's course, and hopefully the there of Bundock is getting more as a further, and forthcoming with that there was a autistic Thai operations heading towards the Chennai. It might have next month is pretty soon. So that's so pretty much to say, and I would have to say thank you for stopping by. Your views, your responsive, your interests, your comments, and greatly as a very appreciated. And I really truly just good thing is appreciated to hear about this guys. So that's it for now. This is update for the document of religions update, and explain that the Bundock, and hope you around for see you around the next update, and hope you see you around to the nearly in the future development and the next decade. and hopefully 2020 is going to be best the decade, and this is post 2010 decade. This is the last year's being 2019. So anyway, I better gotta be go now. So thanks a lot, guys, and thanks for watching the videos. I forget it line. Anyway, so thanks a lot, guys, and thanks for watching the videos.